Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.
Good morning, colleagues. Please let us just settle down. Our guest is here. I'm here this morning to give an abridged scope version of what I've been able to do and what I am doing in terms of policing, which is essentially to provide peaceful coexistence, enforcement of peaceful coexistence by way of ensuring that law and order is abided by, and the Nigerian public go about their lawful businesses unmolested, unchallenged, and in a peaceful manner. Bearing this in mind, on the 7th of April, on assumption of duty as the Acting Inspector General of Police, I started by repositioning the force management team to enable each member to function from a position of strength in line with the age-long policing principles and vision. With a refocused team, the force management went back to the drawing board to enable us to assess the trend and pattern of crimes and other security challenges across the country. This was done, among other things, to evolve a new approaches, both in terms of short-term, medium, and long-term interventions that will help in reordering and stabilizing the security of our country. We conceptualize a new policing vision, mission, and operational agenda to guide our policing services, reclaim the public space from criminal elements, protect the citizens with courage, and serve our fatherland with passion. Our efforts at enhancing public safety was to carry out a thorough geopolitical mapping of crimes as part of efforts to direct appropriate approaches to particular crime trends and challenges across the country. The following were our findings. If you talk about the Southeast, our major challenges are activities of successionist group, the IPOP, and the militant group of the IPOP, which is the ECN. Coordinated violent attacks on security personnel, formations, critical national infrastructure such as INEC facilities and offices. The farmers' headers problem is also in the Southeast. Then proliferation of weapons and other related violent crimes such as cultism, armed robbery, and so forth. When you talk about the Southwest, we have the same problem of kidnapping, bank robbery, farmers' headers, clashes, activities of successionist group, and cultism. In the Northeast, we were able to geomap and see that it is activities of banditry, attacks on schools, and abduction of students. It has been kidnapping, highway robbery, activities of Boko Haram and ISWAP. While in the Northeast, it is also almost the same, banditry, activities of Boko Haram, kidnapping, and the proliferation of arms. North Central is almost the same thing. But what are we doing, or what do we intend to do? With finding out these issues as it relates to the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, we try to do the following. The security situation of the country has been significantly stabilized from time to time, but you see, if it is stabilized for a week, then there are isolated disturbances coming from this zone in terms of either attack on police facilities or police personnel, or even all law enforcement agencies, including the military. And therefore, we therefore, we decided to, one, rejig the morale of our personnel, which has been a little bit dampened since the answers came and went away. With the proscription of SARS and the establishment of SWAT, which has not been able to take up fully, we had a vacuum in tackling most of the violent crimes from a position of strength in terms of having a strike force that is dedicated for that, rather than having our conventional police doing the policing in conventional way. So therefore, we try to marshal back this courage of our personnel who have been involved in violent crime, and lecture them and posted them to the anti-robbery sections for anti-robbery patrols and the investigation of violent-related crimes, which involve both robbery, kidnapping, banditry, cultism, and so forth. After the launching of this operation, we've been able to say the dominating the public space and reducing indiscriminate assaults by succession of groups have been largely checked, but there are still some that are going on. And for the past 10 days or so that we have done, it was only the day before yesterday that we had casualties in terms of police. We have evolved a way of policing that is intelligence-led. To this effect, we have tools that are now in our possession to guide us in our operations. These tools have been working or have started working to guide us in our operations, which is going to be intelligence-led. That might not necessarily be seriously expatiated. Let me start with the case of increase in kidnapping in Abuja, kidnapping and car theft. Then we were also able to see our intelligence report to our commissioner, which is asking him or directing him of some of the things that he needs to pay attention to. And it leaked somehow. This is a way of proactively looking into what is happening and putting proactive measures to prevent its occurrence. Where you cannot prevent, you should detect. And that has been the principle I have for crime and criminality. We make efforts to put proactive measures to prevent the happening. Where we cannot prevent, we should make effort to bring the culprits or perpetrators to book. And that's Intel is targeted at doing that, and we are doing that exactly. As for the bad eggs within the police, I think the police should be praised for one of the organizations that does not hide the actions and inaction of their personnel when it comes to doing anything that is contrary to what he is supposed to be enforcing. We have measures to deal with our personnel, and we actually do deal with our personnel if they err. where there is no any case in point where a policeman has erred and we have covered his imperfection or criminality or whatever. Juliana, the case of Governor Ortom, we've been able to uncover the assailants, and we've been able to establish what had actually happened, contrary to what he has said, and we've been able to get these people and know where they come from, how they came. But the case is still under investigation. That is why there are some vital things that we have not been able to complete. But as for those who pull the trigger and those who organize the crime, they are with us. They've been arrested. As for the Southeast Police seeking redeployment, there are two narratives to that. One of the narratives is that there are complaints that this police in the Southeast, particularly those from that geopolitical zone, are by way of either intimidation from the secessionists, whether they are afraid to work or they have soft spot for what IPOB is doing. These are allegations. And if we have a reasonable belief that there are those who need to be relocated from that zone, we will do that. But as I told you, if we have removed 10, we must have reinforced Southeast with more than 100. So the issue of redeploying them from that place does not even arise. We normally, what we do, if place A or B is very hot, and we have D, E, and F cool, we'll be able to take some officers from where it is cool and reinforce the hot place. I think even farmers do that. If you want to cover your, in my place we do it. You come, all of you go to one farm and you finish it and move to another and do that. Thereby there is a lot of effort to condition that place. And that's what we are doing in the Southeast and Southwest. That is why if you look at a place like Maiduguri, we have two sets of officers. There are those that are fighting along with the military, and there are those that are taken there to maintain civil authority in the conditioned or liberated areas. So we transfer posting our normal things in police, but there is a way of doing it. Sometimes you will see it in mass, sometimes you will see it in trenches. There are reasons for it. If you don't ask, we don't need to explain it to you. Police withdrawing men and police attached to domestic staff. I don't know what you mean by domestic staff, but the issue is there are those that needed to be escorted. There are those that needed to be guarded because of the nature of job they are doing or nature of responsibilities they are carrying. The state is supposed to provide security. The state is supposed to protect its citizens, particularly citizens that are vulnerable to attacks or assault or whatever kind of thing because of the nature of duty they do. That is one. Two, you have political leaders. By virtue of the political offices they are occupying, they are entitled to be guarded, to be escorted. Even businessmen, because of their nature of, because of their position in the society, and they need to be protected, they need to be guarded. So, we have a unit that is called the Special Protection Unit. That unit is essentially created to provide security for those who are in the categories I have mentioned. And there are also, that's why they wear the blue cap. We call them the Special Protection Unit. Then there are places to be guarded, business premises, because of the nature of activities they do in that place. That company or factory or business entity needed to be protected. So there is no way you can say this policeman, because you don't know, because you saw maybe your classmate with a police behind him, does not mean you have the same status. So give us the assessment. We will be able to assess. Suppose you come to my office and say your life is under threat, and I give you police. Somebody see you police and you call it domestic staff. So these are the things we are having. And it is also a symbol of authority. When you have a police officer behind you, you are walking and he's following you, it's a symbol of authority. And some people want it. And thereby, whether by act of truth or false, they will write, Commissioner of Police, some people came to my house with gun and I had to escape. My life is in danger. Please, I need to be protected. If you don't protect me, you know the consequences. If something happens, you are the one that allowed me to be killed. So there are issues in issue of, I've never issued any order since I came as it relates to protection of VIPs by policemen. If you have seen any order, it's not from me. What came out of the order, which was escalated, came out from Asaba Command, where the DC operation was advising his tactical commanders who are entitled or who are supervising men attached to personalities that they shouldn't be traveling with those officers just like an orderly. When we came into this job, a single policeman can say, hey, stop, and everybody will stop. Today, what we do in those days as one person, today 5 policemen cannot do it for you. There is lawlessness, there is impunity, there is everything that you can think of. So I've never issued any law, but if a policeman is working with somebody, then I know he must have been given that orderly or protection by either the Commissioner of Police or by somebody based on whatever assessment that officer must have did, based on our regulations of providing the Special Protection Unit or providing protection in that business premises and so forth. Sometimes there are issues I can force 2 or 3 policemen to go and guard a business premises. The MD is going out, or please follow me, go. These are sometimes what is happening. But we have those who are also entitled by law. Some of them are subjective for assessment because the security situations requires you do that.